Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. I'm thanking everybody who has been listening to us tonight as we went through this outstanding show. Outstanding because tonight we air the inaugural show. It is our 5-year anniversary of Legacy Internet Radio. Of course, you're listening to the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio. We are called Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J. This is the show that launched Legacy Internet Radio on March 4th, 2013. Those folks who have been listening to our website, www.legacyinternetradio, or have been listening to us on TuneIn, heard that show here tonight as we aired it, and so we appreciate that. I felt like it was a pretty cool treat to go back. I certainly enjoy listening to the old stuff from time to time, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Very special thank you to those folks who are watching this on Facebook Live. I see my big brother Chuck is checking in. My big cuz Tony is checking in. He's congratulating us on our 5-year anniversary. And yes, because we will keep on doing what we're doing. So thank you. Appreciate you for always supporting us, and appreciate all of the folks who are listening or watching right here on Facebook Live who have always supported us. I also want to kind of go through and try, don't charge it to my mind, but don't charge it to my heart, but charge it to my mind. I'm gonna get to the housekeeping stuff that we always get to here in just a moment, where we do our missing child and we do this day or this week in history. But I want to thank everybody who has been a part of Legacy Internet Radio. I'm going to try to go off of the dome and try to see if I can remember everybody. So all the shows. So first off, of course, the crew of Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J, the crew of Enliven Radio, the crew of The Listening Party, the crew of, Joy and Body Radio, the Green Room version 2.0 with Jay Grizzy and Lissa P, the hashtag Brother Sister Shenanigans, Absolutely Alphas, the Uptown Lounge, All Throttle Radio, Iron Horse Radio, this one time at the gym, the pregame, Couch Coach Live, let's see, who else? Irreconcilable Differences with Big Rube, DJ Renee Melendez. Let's see, we got a New Balance. I Got Something to Say. We got the P Show. We got the Aaron Turner Show. We've got Twi After Dark. We've got the Satin Room, the Micah White Show, Doing Time. I think, Conversations with Our Sisters with SY and Lissa P. And I think I got everybody. Again, if I missed a show that has been a part of Legacy Internet Radio in the past 5 years, please, please, please do not charge it to my heart. Just charge it to my mind. But shout out to all of those. Very special thank you as we go through our 5-year anniversary show. Very, very special thank you to our brother Aaron Turner, who gave us the platform to announce that we were creating Legacy Internet Radio on his show, the Aaron Turner Show, which at the time aired on 101 The Fam. Shout out to our brother VA Tech over there at 101 The Fam that also allowed us to be there. We announced the creation of Legacy Internet Radio a week prior to March 4th, 2013. And so if we had not had that platform, we may not have been able to have such a successful launch. So I want to thank them. Of course, the original 7, I couldn't do this without the original 7. They've provided me with the support and love that it's taken to move forward. And I shouldn't say me, I should say us, because this anniversary is for all of us. It's not just for me, it's for all of us. And so the original 7, of course, Jay Grizzy, I call him the inspiration. Had it not been for him back in, August of 2011, saying, hey, I got an opportunity to do a radio show. You want to be down? And I said, sure, I want to be down. And so Jay Grizzy and Carlton Banks, not his real name, they were the original, along with myself, on the original Green Room. And later on, we brought in Big Rube. And so there was your first 4. And then, of course, we had our sister, Miss Tony, and our sister, the dating pool diva, author, Charisma, And of course, last but certainly not least, the First Lady of Legacy Internet Radio, comedian S. Lissa P. That's your original 7. And so that was the group that we had prior to creating Legacy Internet Radio. We moved forward with the creation, with that 7 being the basis and the foundation. And of course, we grew. Of course, the first show we picked up on a Tuesday was in Live in Radio, hosted by Mr. LP Stephen Sykes. And then on Wednesday, we had the Green Room version 2.0 with Jay Grizzy and Lissa P. And then on Thursday, we ended up having Iron Horse Radio, which after a few weeks morphed into what was known as All Throttle Radio, which aired from 2013 just up until about 6 months ago. So we've had some long-standing relationships and some shows that have been with us for a long time, and we appreciate the contributions and the support of everybody. You know, of course, we started off just doing this one show, and we went dark, until next week. And Monday night, 7 p.m. So you finished at 9 or 9:30, whatever it was on a Monday, and then it was dead air until next week. We didn't have the programming until more and more people, as I mentioned, Live in Radio and Jay and Lissa and Iron Horse, which turned into All Throttle Radio, and more. And it got to the point where the programming was so much that we had to go 24 hours. And so we became a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week operation. And again, it's because of you guys, man. We can't sit here and say that we did it. I mean, we did it because y'all wanted it. Y'all wanted to hear us talk about socially conscious topics. And you wanted to hear, the hottest comics in Richmond, Jay Grizzy and Lissa P, come on here and just improv and have fun. You wanted black biker culture. And as time, moved on, you wanted sports. We started off as a sports show. We moved into socially conscious areas, but we were sports. So we did that. We got a sports show, Couch Coach Live, and before that, Clutch, the sports show for you that was hosted by co-founder Big Rube. And so we've had a whole lot. We had the P Show, which was another show that focused on entertainment. With our sister P and our sister Wendy, and of course our brother Cam Barbie. Great show. And of course Aaron Turner, after leaving 101 The Fam, came to join us for a while here at Legacy Internet Radio. You heard him on the inaugural show, and we were honored to have him. We had the pregame, which was another kind of improv show. You had some cats and some sisters that come in here on a Friday night to pregame, literally. They came in here and they just chopped it up until it was time to hit the club, and it was cool. It was fun. We liked it. Conversations for your sisters was dope because you had the First Lady, Lissa P, and SY, a couple of sisters who came in here and they just talked about issues that were pertaining to our sisters. And the cool thing about SY was she started off as a listener. And that's how Legacy Internet Radio will embrace you. You don't have to have any experience doing radio or anything like that. You could just be somebody who wants to be a part of something. And she wanted to be a part of something. She would listen to us, and she would blog with us, and she would communicate with us. And as time went on, we invited her to come into the studio. And when she came into the studio, she actually was a co-host on this very show for a while. And she still joins us on the third Monday of every single month. So it was outstanding. We had Twi After Dark, which was an outstanding show that was hosted by a married woman and a single mom. And they would come in and they would talk about relationships and things of that sort. And that was outstanding. That show evolved and later became the Satin Room, which still airs to this very day here on Legacy Internet Radio. We've had special guests that have joined us on Legacy Internet Radio. Of course, one of our special guests got his own show, comedian Michael Bam Bam White, who airs his show on Sundays at 3:30 right here on Legacy Internet Radio. And other special guests have included the number one true fighter in America, Warren Ballantine. We've had Chicken George's great-great-granddaughter, Miss Beverly Johnson. We've had Dawood Anyabwile and Dr. Guy Sims, the creators of Brother Man Comics. We've had WNBA world champion Nyree Roberts. We had former NBA player Rashawn McLeod. We had former NFL player Nate Jones join us. A whole host of prominent folks in the world of sports and politics. We had the Israelites come in here, the Nation of Gods and Earths come in here. We've had musicians and artists and rappers and singers and actors and directors. It's so many. I wish that I could name them all. It's just difficult to do that. And so I just want to pay homage to all of those folks. It's really, I always say it's not about me. It's never been about me. It's never been about Big Rube. It's never been about Jay Grizzy. It's never been about Carlton Banks or Tony, Alyssa, or Charisma, or Steven Sykes, or Big Rube. I mentioned him. It's never been about any of us. It's been about you guys. It's been about the listeners. It's been about the supporters. It's been about our families. It's been about, the people who can't stand us. It's been about our haters. It's been about everybody. But it ain't been about us, because this is a labor of love. Sometimes more labor and sometimes more love. But we come in here and we give everything we have every single time we turn these computers on and we turn these microphones on, because we understand that having our own voice in media is important. And it's cool to listen to music, and it's cool to dance, and it's cool to do all of those things. And we play music during our off show times, and typically we kind of keep it to old school, because quite frankly, we prefer to do that. But, we wanted to be in control of our images. We wanted to be the ones who determine what it is we are looking like to others. We're not going to turn this radio on and have the first thing you hear be a bunch of negativity. We want to have fun. You're going to hear some cuss words. You're going to hear some foul language. You're going to hear some craziness. But one thing you're not going to hear, at least you shouldn't hear, is the N-word, because we don't slur ourselves. We don't do any of that kind of stuff. We want to try to keep it positive, and we want to keep it so that you know that you're going to get a positive representation of yourself for us, by us. And that's no shade to anybody else. That's no shade to any other community. That's no shade to anybody else. There's never a time when you support and salute yourself where that support and salute of yourself is a slight to somebody else. That's not what we do here. So if it's taken that way, it says more about who's offended than it does about what we do here, because independence is the key to building your legacy. That's why we're here. We're here to give others a platform to come in here, express themselves, give off whatever kind of positive energy they can to their listeners. This show, Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J., we try to have a little fun. We give off a fun vibe while at the same time dropping jewels on you with regards to socially conscious topics. We'll talk about the president. We'll talk about school shootings. We'll talk about, police brutality. But we'll also talk about, what was your favorite TV show? What did you watch last night? Did you watch the Oscars? Did you watch 7 Seconds that's on Netflix now? Did you watch Black Panther? We'll talk about all those kinds of things. And one of the cool things that I like is the diversity, because on Tuesday nights you can listen to Life Ministries, which is a show that is led by a couple of religious, spiritual people, a couple of Christians, and they're going to be talking about those kinds of issues. That's diversity. Hashtag brother and sister shenanigans. They're going to come in here, and just by virtue of the name, you already know what it is. They're going to have shenanigans, and they're going to come in here, and they're going to be a little bit crazy. And that's how they do it here. Big Bro Joe, one of my best friends in the world, leads that show, and they have a great time. I also enjoy this one time at the gym, because our sister Mara will come in here, and she will get you amped up. She's a bodybuilder. She's a fitness trainer, and she'll bring people in here that's going to help you get right with your body, and that's important. Of course, I mentioned Couch Coach Live, our sports show. A New Balance is another one of our spiritual shows that we love having here on Legacy Internet Radio. I got something to say with our brother Tavon is a dope show, because he's going to bring sort of a urban intellectual type of show, and we appreciate him because that's something that we need. And you need to look him up here as well. The Urban Renaissance Society is someplace that you want to be acquaintance with. They got an art gallery over there, a lot of great things that are coming here in the near future. And then, of course, we have the Micah White Show. Micah Bam Bam White, comedian for over 20 years, world traveled, did a lot of shows all over the world. But you know what? This is a brother who is brilliant intellectually. He's a businessman. He's a socialite, and he'll come in here on his show, and he's going to take you through a spiritual realm of intellectual property that'll have you at the end of it laughing, questioning, but at the same time being entertained. And I mentioned the Satin Room earlier. Dope show. A few sisters that come in here. They are a show about relationships and between men and women, between women and women, sometimes between men and men. But it's going to be a relationship show. Coming up soon, we're going to have the Jamil and Yoshi show. I don't think I mentioned them, and that's my apologies. But I'm very excited about their show, Jamil and Yoshi. You got a brother who is very, very active in the community, in the arts, and trying to bring poets and spoken word and authors and musicians all together. And, of course, his partner, Yoshi, who is also an entrepreneur in her own right with her dance studio. And so they come together to create the Jamil and Yoshi show, which will be debuting here on Legacy Internet Radio on March 10th, Saturday night from 8:30 to 10:30. And last but not least, we've got Doing Time, hosted by our sister Sonia, which chronicles her life doing time with her husband, who is, in fact, doing time in the state penitentiary or federal penitentiary. And she speaks with a lot of folks who are affected in the same way. And so we got a lot, man. As you can see, I just went through a whole lot. There's a lot of pride that comes with doing this, and a lot of pride in the family that we have here. And you know, when you come in the den, you got to give me Marcus J a hug, because that's how we do it here. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, live from the den, Legacy Internet Radio. That was kind of my rant and my closing monologue. And so what I will do is just kind of go through what we do here at this stage of the show. I always give you a missing child. This week is no different. We're looking for Jaquana Broughton. She's missing from the capital city here in Richmond from February 28, 2018. She's a 17-year-old black female, stands 5'2", weighs 140 pounds. Last seen February 28, 2017, wearing a black jacket, blue shirt, gray and pink shorts, and pink slippers. If you've seen Jaquana Broughton, please contact the National Center for Missing and or Exploited Children on their website, missingkids.com, or contact them at 1-800-THE-LOST, 1-800-843-5678, or the Richmond, Virginia Police Department at 804-646-5125. This day or this week in history, we got a lot going on here. In 2015, the United States Department of Justice finds pervasive racial bias within the police department and municipal court in Ferguson, Missouri, including targeting black people for stops, arrests, and uses of force. Wow, can you believe that? All the way in 2015. In 1842, this week, Maryland law provides for punishment of up to 20 years in prison for any African-American found with anti-slavery publication in his or her possession. You imagine that, if you're walking around with anti-slavery stuff in your pocket, you can go to jail for that. 1857, U.S. Supreme Court in Dred Scott versus Sanford rules that people of African descent cannot be United States citizens, are not protected by the Constitution, and have no standing to sue in federal courts. Wow, the Dred Scott case. I hadn't thought about that in a long time, but that was this week. 1965, supporters of black voting rights marching from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama, are attacked by police with tear gas, whips, clubs, dozens of hospitalized, and what becomes known as what? Bloody Sunday. Bloody Sunday is this week. Lastly, 1655, Virginia Colony Court rules against John Castor, a black indentured servant who sued for his freedom after being forced to work past his term, and declares him a slave for life. Wow, 1655. And you know, half stepping with Marcus J, live from the den, Legacy Internet Radio. I feel like I've already given you a rant in closing, because I did do that back in the airing of the original show from 2013 on March 4th, 2013, which is the anniversary, the 5-year anniversary of us here on Legacy Internet Radio. But you know what? I'm going to update this rant in closing, give you a little bit something more. I'll be very brief, and I'll just close it out this way. Couple of real quick hits. First of all, I don't know if you guys have heard, but you got a teacher in Florida who has a blog online not even a blog, it's more like a podcast where she's talking about white supremacy, and she's talking about how she's going back to the schools and teaching her children this. First of all, I'm going to be brief on these quick hits on this rant. Don't think that this is an isolated issue. I would implore you to go to the school principals and all of the schools where your children go and flush these people out, because they are absolutely out there. The president of the United States two times this week said something incredibly powerfully stupid, but at the same time scary. You have to pay attention to the fact that he said that he wants to come and take your guns and worry about due process later. Now, this is the same president who is a Republican, and a lot of the people who support him were afraid when President Barack Hussein Obama was the president, and they said he was the one that was coming to take your guns and your weapons. So pay attention, because it's your president, Donald Trump, that actually said that he wants to take your guns and worry about due process later. He also said that China, because their new president is going to be president for life, he said that that's something that we should try here in the United States. Now, a lot of his supporters are going to say that he said these things in jest, but you can't be the president of the United States and say things like this in jest, especially with the reputation that he has, because I guarantee you, when Hitler was walking around saying some of the crazy stuff, there were people who supported him, because history will tell you that nobody supported Adolf Hitler. It's just not true. He would have never been able to do what he did if he didn't have support, and a lot of the things that he was saying and doing was chalked up to him just being a crazy guy. Don't take it serious, and the next thing you know, he's eradicating 6 million Jews off of the planet. So pay attention. Nobody's saying that's what Donald Trump is going to do, but I do say that you need to pay attention to the things that he says, and don't think that everything is in jest, because everything ain't funny. The next thing that I want to hit is, the last thing I want to hit is down there in Overland Park, Kansas, at a Hooters. You had a little black boy who was running through, got separated from his family, and a grown-ass man spit on him and called him out his name, called him the N-word. Now, let me just tell you this. I am not a violent person. I'm not a violent person. But if you do something to mine, I got to take your head clean off. It's just really that simple. If you put your hands on me, as Malcolm X said, send them to the cemetery. This is one of them situations where you try to put your nasty racist slant on a child, a little child, and when the authorities show up, your response to them is, I'm a first responder, as if that was some sort of get out of jail free. This is the thing with this, folks. People are now more empowered to their racist bullshit than they've ever been in my lifetime. I've always experienced racism. I've always known what it was. But how empowered these folks are is something that we need to pay attention to. And we have to wonder if it's got something to do with the folks that are in leadership today, or if there's something else going on. We are more divided than we've ever been in the history of this country. Well, I shouldn't say the history of this country. That's a bit of hyperbole. But we're more divided now than we've been in a very long time. We have to ask ourselves why. It's got to be some sort of leadership deficiency, and we need to check those folks that we spend our votes on in November. It's 2018, it's midterms, and that is how you make America great again. You vote for and against the people who you either want to be in position or who you don't want to be in position. We have the power. We just need to exercise it. That is the Marcus's Unrelated Rant, once again, for the second time tonight. That has nothing to do with what we're in here talking about. So end the show. I want to thank everybody who has been watching us on Facebook Live. I want to thank everybody who's been listening to the flagship show throughout the night. Independence is the key to building your legacy. I want to say peace to all the stars and the squares. In the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty. Those are the words of Bob Marley, who you hear singing in the background. Ain't no half step on Marcus J, y'all. We will be back live from the den of Legacy Internet Radio next week. Peace, y'all. Appreciate you.